Hey guys, Naz here with another video. In this video, I'll be going over my tier list for PvP as of patch 6.15. I'll be going over the jobs on how they're displayed in-game, so tanks, healers, melee, range, and casters. With that out the way, let's get into this, yeah? Paladin is the first tank, and the only tank in PvP. It could soak damage with Guardian, making it invaluable. With this kind of support, its damage is the lowest of all the tanks, so it heavily relies on its allies. Paladin's limit break paired with Guardian is a powerful combo that makes you and another ally invincible, and the rest of your allies take 50% less damage, making it very hard to kill anyone. This all relies on having good allies, and because of this, I have to have multiple tier lists. There will be two tier lists for Crystalline Conflict. One will be lower ranks where people are still learning the game mode and their jobs, which consist of unranked to platinum, while the other tier list will be diamond to crystal, where everyone should have a good idea of what each job does and how to play the game mode. Frontlines will have a solo queue and a duo queue tier list. Paladins will sadly be ranked lower in Crystalline Conflict in the starting ranks because of what I said prior. Paladin needs good teammates to fully utilize its kit, and you're just not going to get that in the lower ranks to consistently climb. For that, I give it a B rank, but in the higher ranks, Paladin is easily S tier. In Frontline solo queue, it's a C tier because its kit's mostly single target, and the potencies are the lowest of all the tanks. But in duo queue, it's A tier as you could pocket your partner. If you enjoy support tank playstyle, then Paladin's the job for you. Primal rending their way into the fray is Warrior. Being able to AoE stun multiple enemies is so powerful, and then its limit break removes guard from the enemies is absolutely insane, and it sets up a slaughterhouse waiting to happen. Like Paladin, we do need good allies to capitalize on this. Warriors can hold their own since it get increased potency during its limit break, making it not totally helpless. In lower ranks, Warrior's easily S tier as it could seem like an unstoppable juggernaut, while in higher ranks, it definitely needs its help from its teammates, making it an A tier. In solo frontlines, it gets a B tier as you could easily harass the enemies who are usually grouped up, and in duo queue, it's S tier. You can AoE stun a group, then limit break them, leaving them guardless, and have your partner capitalize heavily, especially if they queued on something with an AoE limit break. If you enjoy an aggressive support tank, then Warrior's the job for you. Plunging their way next is Dark Knight. They have an AoE draw and bind, which makes for perfect setup for your allies. It bolsters the second highest DPS of all the tanks, but this can only be achieved at low HP. As of patch 6.15, you need to be at 20% HP, which is 12,000 HP, to fully capitalize on your kit. Most jobs in the game can kill Dark Knight at that HP as collateral damage with AoE or a GCD and off GCD. For this, I don't find myself fully utilizing my job, and I feel like I could be doing better DPS on another tank. In the lower ranks, you could get away with this due to players lacking the skill to focus targets, making it a B tier, but in higher ranks, Dark Knight gets a C tier. In frontline solo queue, it's a C tier with so many people around, and in duo queues, it could be a B tier for Salted Earth setup. If you enjoy an aggressive playstyle that rewards you for being low at HP, then this is the job for you. Gunbreaker has been breaking records ever since it joined the game, and it continues to do so in PvP. Having the highest DPS of any tank, and even some of the DPS jobs, you can find this monster slaughtering your allies. With great power comes no crowd control. Its only form of crowd control is from its limit break stun, which is obviously inconsistent as you don't always have this up when you need it. In lower ranks, it's an A tier as you could snowball fights for your team very easily, and in higher elo, it's a B tier because while its damage is great, crowd control is what mostly dictates the game at that level. In frontline solo queue, it's a C tier, and in duo queues, it's a B tier as you could easily tag team with your partner and kill the enemy team one at a time. If you enjoy playing in melee range with a higher HP pool, then Gunbreaker might be for you. Next up, we have the healers. White Mage comes in with a swift Silver Strike, the best mitigation of all the healers, which mitigates damage for all allies by 10%. This paired with Cure 3 and the best crowd control in the game with Miracle of Natures makes White Mage an easy pick. On top of all of this, it has a short limit break charge that stuns enemies and buffs allies' damage output. In lower ranks, it's easily an A tier, and in higher ranks, it's S tier. In frontlines, it's a B tier, and in duo queues, it's an A tier as you could follow around your partner and help kill anyone that comes across your path. If you enjoy a defensive support healer, then White Mage is the job for you. Scholar deploys its way next into the ranks. Being able to maintain a 10% damage increase for all allies the whole game while reducing enemies' damage output and healing makes it a very good support healer. With that in mind, it'll be a C tier in lower ranks. It can seem like you're not doing much when your teammates don't know how to fully take advantage of your kit, and in higher ranks it's a B tier. In Frontlines it easily gets a B tier as you could spread your dot consistently debuffing multiple enemies. In Duo Q it gets an A tier because your partner can take advantage of your kit, making you two almost invincible. If you enjoy a shield healer, then Scholar's the job for you. Astrologians draw themselves into the fray. Being able to support your allies with 10% damage buff, faster limit break charges, and replenishing their MP, this job cannot be gazed over. It has the second highest burst of all the healers, so you better be careful or you'll be seeing stars real soon. In lower ranks, Astro gets a B tier as its burst can help you carry fights, and in higher ranks it gets an A tier. In solo frontline it gets a B tier, and in duo queues it gets an A tier. If you like an offensive support healer, then Astrologian's the job for you. Pew-pewing their way in the last spot is Sage. It bolsters the highest DPS of all healers, but it comes with very little heals. Your only heal will be from Cardia, so it's expected for you to constantly be DPSing to heal your allies. Having an AoE zone denial with its limit break is very strong during overtime or standstills that makes Sage very useful. In lower ranks you can easily carry your group with your DPS, making it A tier, and in higher elo you'll need to rely on your team more as players know what they're doing, giving it a B tier. In solo frontlines it'll be a B tier, and in duo queues it's an A tier, as you and your partner can crush anyone caught out. If you like an aggressive healer, then Sage is the job for you. Onward to the melee jobs. Monk is coming in strong with one of the best bursts in the game. It could kill most jobs in the game from 100% HP to 0, making it the ultimate melee assassin. This combo stun locks your enemy so there's no way they could survive by guarding or healing it. It however has a long GCD string to get there, making it rather weak at the start of teamfights. In lower ranks you can easily carry your team by bursting down the enemy's team's best player and then bullying the rest of their team, which gives it an A rank. But in higher elo it'll be dropped to B tier since most players are aware of this. In Frontlines it's a C tier because most players are in packs, and your kit is mostly single target, and this burst takes a while to build up like I said prior. In Duo Q it's a B tier as Thunderclap can be a nice support to your partner while helping them whittle down their foes. If you enjoy a sustained DPS playstyle with a massive burst, then Monk may be for you. Dragoon jumps into the fray with the best melee AoE burst. Its limit break easily chunks a team down or forces them to use guard, which sets up your team to kill them when they come out of it. Having the highest AoE burst combo and a very good single target burst, Dragoon comes with no crowd control. In lower ranks, Dragoon get an S tier as it could seem like a god, making your foes drop one at a time, and in higher ranks, Dragoon is an A tier. In solo queue Frontlines, Dragoon is A tier, and in duo queue, you and your partner can wreck groups. If you enjoy a melee burst playstyle, then Dragoon is the job for you. Sakuching its way into the battlefield is Ninja. It's mostly seen as the range melee as it's more efficient to burst down a target with your range GCDs than your melee ones. It could chain kill the enemy team if they're at 50% or lower with its limit break, making it seem broken. For that, it gets an S tier in lower ranks, but in the higher ranks it drops to a B tier because it's a lot harder to get multiple kills from your limit break. Not only do players know what to expect, but we often mark and kill the ninja whenever we see their limit break up. In Frontlines, it's a B tier as it could safely poke the enemy down with Gokas, Fumas, and Shurikens. In Duo Q, Ninja is an A tier as your partner can help set up for multiple chain kills from your limit break. If you enjoy a reset assassin playstyle, then Ninja's the job for you. Cutting their way into the ranks is Samurai. It has a good AoE and single target burst, but not the best. It brings a stun and a 25% damage mitigation to have a chance in the battlefield. Its limit break can literally kill everyone on the enemy team on rare occasion, but it often gets at least 1 or 2 kills in the lower ranks. This will lead into an easy snowball to victory, giving it an S rank, but in higher ranks we often avoid Samurais doing this, as a solid and reliable kit which gives it an A rank. In solo Frontlines it's A rank as the limit break can net free kills with so much AoE flying around. In Duo Q it's an S tier because you and your partner can AoE down a squad easily. If you enjoy an aggressive playstyle with the potential to one-shot the enemy team, then Samurai's the job for you. From Hell comes the Reaper. Having the highest sustained DPS of all the melee jobs, you often feel like this job has MP drain attached to its attack. It hits like a truck with its GCDs and limit break. The only downside of Reaper is the lack of impactful crowd control and that its burst is mostly GCD, so it's often heal blow for blow with recuperate or just guarding through it. Having no crowd control immunity during its limit break often makes it feel like you wasted it upon usage. In lower ranks it's a B tier, but in higher ranks you often wish you were playing something else, giving it the C tier. In solo queue frontline, this job gets a C tier yet again as the burst takes too long, and in duo queue it gets a B tier because hopefully your partner has crowd control to help you reap those souls. If you enjoy a hard-hitting melee job, then Reaper may be for you. Firing from the back line are our ranged DPS. Hard comes in with a 5% damage buff for the whole game if played properly. It can also help an ally in a pinch who's getting burst down with the Warden's Peen, which mitigates a status and then gives that ally a 20% damage mitigation and a healing buff. On top of that, its limit break increases your ally's damage by 10% and helps charge their limit break. It's the ultimate ranged support job, but that's also its downfall. In lower ranks, you'll find it hard for your allies to actually make use of your kit, giving it a C rank, but in higher tiers, it's an A tier. In solo frontlines, we come across the same problem as we can't rely on random allies being good, giving it a C tier, but in duo queue, you could back up your partner, giving it a B tier. If you enjoy a ranged support playstyle, then Bard's the job for you. Sniping down the competition is Machinist. It comes with the highest single target burst of their ranged DPS. Being able to burst down over half the roster with Air Anchor and its limit break, Marksman Spite, is very useful in helping your team win a team fight. Its turret offers some additional DPS, a 10% damage vulnerability on your foes, and a shield for any ally standing in its radius. In lower ranks, Machinist can be very powerful if played well from the back lines, giving it an A tier, but in higher ranks it drops to B because the other two range jobs exist. In solo frontline it gets a C tier as it's mostly single target damage, and in duo queues it'll get a B tier because you and your partner can guarantee a target dies one by one. If you enjoy a ranged DPS playstyle, then Machinist is the job for you. Dancing their way up next is the Dancer. They have the highest AoE burst damage of the ranged jobs. On top of that, they come with some support for one ally with Saber and Fan Dance. Curing Waltz is an amazing AoE heal that can heal everyone for 16,000 potency every 20 seconds if coordinated properly. At the end of the day, Dancer is a support and will rely on your allies to clean up on the damage you dealt to your foes, giving it a B tier, and in higher ranks it'll be an A tier where your allies will take advantage of your support. In solo frontlines, Dancer has a hard time fully using its kit as its range is 15 yams on its major burst and no one to reliably buff, giving it the C rank. In duo queues it has the potential to be A tier with its amazing kit and a good partner. If you enjoy support range that isn't completely reliant on your allies, then Dancer's for you. Lastly, onto the casters. Black Mage Aether manipulates its way into the fray. Being able to use ice spells to help freeze the enemies, while fire is used for more damage to incinerate your foes. It also comes with an AoE sleep. Black Mage's limit break packs a whole lot of AoE burst damage, making it a real pain during standstills or overtime. Black Mage requires a lot of map positioning, so in lower ranks it can seem bad since players will die because of this, giving it a B rank, but in higher ranks Black Mage can easily be an A tier with a vast amount of crowd control and DPS when needed. In solo frontline it gets an A tier, and in duo queues it gets an S tier with how much AoE damage you can pull off if your partner complements you. If you like a control mage playstyle, then Black Mage is for you. Crimson charging their way next is Summoner. Their base kit has a short but decent burst, and they can shield an ally with Radiant Aegis. They shine whenever they get their limit break, which either summons Bahamut, which acts as a turret for the next 15 seconds, with a front load of AoE burst, or Phoenix, which is a defensive summon that heals and reduces damage coming from your foes. Summoner doesn't have as much damage as the other casters and will act more as a support mage, meaning in lower ranks it'll feel like you're not hitting as hard, giving it a B rank. And in higher ranks it still remains a B because the other two casters exist. In solo frontline, Summoner has a very safe poke and their limit break chunks group downs very quickly, giving it the A rank. In duo queue this is an S tier because your partner can capitalize on the damage you dealt or help wipe out a group. If you enjoy a support mage, then Summoner's the job for you. Coring their way into the fray is Red Mage. This job got nerfed twice, yet it still holds up in the meta. Having the highest single target burst of all the mages, it can help assassinate a valuable target to help your team win the team fight. It comes with some support, magic barriers and AoE 10% damage mitigation and recovery buff by 20%, or Razzles and AoE debuff. All enemies will take 10% more damage and recover 20% less. Pair this with its limit break and hit everyone for a nice chunk damage to initiate a teamfight or finish one up. In lower ranks, Red Mage can seem like a menace, being able to kill anyone in a duel, giving it the S rank, and in higher ranks it'll drop to A tier. In solo queue, Red Mage gets a B tier since it's mostly single target, and the other mages excel at AoE damage, but in duo queue will get bumped up to the A tier because you and your partner can snipe down a valuable target or chunk down a group with its range limit break. If you enjoy a melee mage with some support, then Red Mage is for you. This was my first time ever doing a tier list, so any feedback is appreciated. If this video brought value to you, please leave a like and consider subscribing to see more. Until the next video, I'll see ya.